Well, what an honour this is from the Hagerty Global Broadcast Centre to the world for the PCA Sim Racing Team Series 2021. We are benefiting Operation Motorsport tonight. Pledgeit.org. It's on the bottom of the screen. 180 minutes on the clock. Stand by as the Patrouille de France, the air battalion of the Air Force and Army of the French, goes across the start-finish line, and we are racing. Green flag, and it jumps right away from the start. Lone Wolf Motorsport. Michael Polasek then gets the start exactly as he wanted, through the first sweeping uphill corner into the heavy braking area for the Dunlop curves underneath that historic bridge. And I can tell you from personal experience, driving out of the Le Mans pits, just seeing that is enough to get your heart beating, even if you're only in a road car. Down through the Forest S's, as you were at the front of the field. Rob Rattray, where was Rob racing? Sitting in P7, coming to Tertre Rouge for the first time. The Red Hill leading out onto the first part of the Ligne Droite Unadière, as the French say, or as us British call it, the Mulsanne Straight. The chicanes put in there in the 1990s to try and keep the FIA off the backs of the ACO. Didn't quite work out that way, but it has made for an interesting run past the old Chinese restaurant on the left-hand side, down at the braking area for the first of two chicanes, which the organisers will tell you are identical, but just reversed. The drivers will tell you the second one is much tighter than the first, and I never know who to believe. Still a good run from our pole sitters. They head down. Team Lone Wolf, Matrix in there as well. Zoom Zoom in the purple and green. That's the old Porsche hippie colours. And Bobby Rahal bought one of those old 962s in that colour. Raced it at Le Mans in the classics and then sold it on for a handy profit. That's why he does what he does, and I do what I do. Keep an eye on a right-hand corner. $16,355 raised at the moment, and we're going to be telling you to keep an eye on that and dig deep into your pockets, purses, or your PayPals, as it is nowadays. Liam Rodzitis comes down to the heavy braking area at the end of the Mulsanne Straight, into Mulsanne Corner for the first time. And onto one of my favourite parts of the circuit, the long run from Mulsanne all the way down the far side of the forest. New bits of tarmac put in recently, and they're accurately modelled here in iRacing. Those red stripes at the edge of the road surface, which, as James said earlier on, is public road, down towards the Indianapolis Arnage complex, which now isn't public road. That's bypassed now, and then turning right at Arnage. Just had an interesting moment there with the Chrysler Viper GTS, but we'll gloss over that, as I'd forgotten the roads were still open as I attacked that as if I was in the last lap of the 24 hours. Mick de Haas from Chrysler will never forgive me. We escaped unscathed. Through into the insanely quick entry to the Porsche curves for the first time, and that bright orange Dream Team car going very, very wide there into the kitty litter. Oh, so difficult to get your turning point right. That was the 996 Jordan Dyer Shortest Dream Team machine that went off. The Tangerine Dream, not quite as they were hoping. So end of the first lap then, with 2 hours and 56 minutes on the nosy through the Ford chicane for the first time. And what an interesting first lap. We've seen Porsches here before in Porsche Carrera Cup. We've not seen this many RSRs, and a brilliant and clean opening first lap, James.
Going on the long first stint to try and pit now. Watching this battle for 18th between Grop, who has been in a lot of action lately. Mark Harris is going to try to go the long way around and almost loses the car. Somehow holds on to it through the first corner and still makes the overtake.
In sim as we go green flag racing, and we are underway from Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. Off and away we go as Robert Rose leads this field off into the very tight turn one. It feels like an off-camber corner, and then you come up the hill here, Rachel, and it is the almost blind approach entirely to turn three as you crest the hill that usually gives drivers so much trouble in an opening lap. Everybody looks like they've gotten through clean the first time around in this class, though.
Yeah, they certainly have, and it's one of the trickiest corners we got there, of course. In 5, I would say, is the next big challenge. That could be very easy to run wide there, lose some traction, get a little bit too much on the outside as they come through just fine. In towards 6 now, to the double right-handers here at the very end of our track. Before the biggest corner you've got to get right at 7. It's all about the speed you get off that corner. Maximize that, and you have a great run down the straight here. It's not quite straight, but this is straight.
We'll go off and underway with our final race of the evening. This is the Pro Class in the Zone Group Challenge Championship presented by Porsche.
Absolutely great start to the race tonight as the guys go raging through La Source there. Some magical word popped into my head for a second. I'm not sure why, but I was racing through, then it was like raging through, then it was like, oh, where am I going with this? Make up a word halfway through the corner as they go up Rouge Radion. I wanted to say Eau Rouge, that's what my brain was trying to think of at the time. I got very confused between La Source and Eau Rouge Radion. I'm rambling now, but race cars are going fast. Vroom, vroom.
Chris Bond and Chris Pies having a really good battle here for second just behind as they nearly bounced off of one another and just about bounced off of each other twice. But Braun will get the better of Pies and go into second. Pies back to third. Cameron Martineau in fourth. Remember, he won the Team Racing Challenge at Sebring back at the beginning of last month. And then Rafael Amorim ahead of Jason Lisner.
Yeah, great battle right now between these drivers. Of course, one thing to touch out, Joshua Vieira got involved in an incident, dropped all the way back through the field right now, so a tough break for Vieira, but right now it's watching to see, can anyone have anything for Polasek as they come working through the field?
Needed, but in any case, we are very glad to have all the Porsche Club of America members along for the ride here. A big hello to all of you watching the broadcast and all of you sim racing fans as well, as the pace car will get set to pull onto pit road, and it will be the man in the number 70 machine. It will be Billy Smith who leads the field of green, and we are underway with the Porsche Club of America Sim Racing Series here at Sebring. And Smith will have that preferred line as they go into turn one of the first trail braking corners, get down into fourth gear. Here's they all fan out. Some cars in trouble a little bit further back in the field. A lot of cars sort of sliding and making sure they jump around their way. I see a few pulled together. Kyle Kamer and Eric Peterson, I think, got caught up in it, as did James Sue. Otherwise, everybody all in pretty good shape here as they come through the first very tight sort of S technical combo corners here, the 3, 4, 5 succession right before Big Bend.
Look at this fight for the lead, James. Here comes Jason Lisner through Sunset Bend. This is as close as he's been to the back bumper of Billy Smith since the drop of the green flag. This should be the white flag as there's only 40 seconds left, so this should be the final trip around Sebring. Look at the defensive line. Billy Smith's going to take Lisner a huge run into one. Nothing cooking there, but he is right on the back bumper.
Coming in here, no more than 2 laps to go tops here at Sebring, and these two have been glued together for the majority of this race, and they just have not been able to separate one from another. And it is First Settlers versus Maverick here, and now Lisner's really beginning to put the pressure on Smith. I don't know if he's been as close as he has is right now, and Lisner had a chance to get after Smith in the hairpin, but again, same issue that William you had a few laps ago. If you overdrive the exit of turn 5, you're in trouble.
Yep, and that definitely kills the run down into the hairpin. Nothing cooking there. He just has to sit on the back bumper now as they work through Fangio, get up to turn 10, 11, 12, 13, maybe down in Tower. He might have a sniff of that lead to try and make a move. Only a few corners left, real passing opportunities, unless Billy Smith makes a mistake. Nothing cooking here.
Really, really tight stuff there as they come through turn 10. Next run will be up to the tower corner. You're on full throttle here, and then you've got to pitch the car very quickly and very correctly, and we'll see if we get a good run through here as we come down to the closing stages of this race.
Just out into the dirt one more time for Jason Lisner, losing all the opportunities that he needs to try and make a move for the lead. Running out of corners here now sets up for Le Mans. They're going to have one last run down the Ullman Straight. What kind of move will we see out of Jason Lisner? Can he get off this corner well with a good run? Looks to be pretty even, but I think Billy Smith's got the right advantage for the time being.
Billy Smith should be in pretty good shape here unless he completely locks it up at Sunset Bend. Billy Smith, who has led this race from the drop of the green flag, who's been the fastest man in Florida all week long. You see Lisner really get on it, try and get right around him, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think, as they come off the corner. Here comes Billy Smith down to the start-finish line, and Billy Smith with a really, really strong run this evening to get it done and win the inaugural race for the Porsche Club of America Sim Racing Series. Who's going to struggle to get going as they make their way up to turn 1 for the first time.
Clean so far. See 3-4 wide, a little bit further back, about that 7th, 8th position. Everyone's squeezing in, using that runoff spot for the run through the S's, keeping it clean and tidy. A little bit of door banging there. One car around in front of the field. Off to the side he will go.
Speaking of a man trying to get it done, James Polasek is giving Billy Smith one heck of a battle. He has really given him a lot of pressure through the boot that last time, and then now that other passing opportunity that you said might be a good one would be heading down here into turn 1. He's going to look, and yeah, he's going to dive down in deep in. Oh, and they're going to get close.
Billy Smith goes around. Polasek stops.
He's waiting for him.
Take the climb. Yeah, they're going to wait and give up the track position, and James Huth is going to go to the race lead. So Polasek and Billy Smith get together, and now they've got to run down Huth, who was back by about 2 seconds, but now they're just over the 10-minute mark, and they've both got a job to do. William Levesque is going to get set to lead this field to the green flag. We're glad to have all of you with us here on the iRacing Esports Network as we get set for an hour of racing from the Dairy State. Levesque waits, gets the green flag. He takes off, and we are underway with racing at Road America. And they all go 2 by 2 down the front straightaway for the very first time. Levesque should have the lead going into the corner. Battle might be for second, where Polasek and Wagner are side by side, and they all back it down and begin to file in line as they come through turn 1 for the first time.
So far, everybody keeping it clean as they come out of turn 1 underneath the Briggs Stratton banner right there into turns 3. Oh, a little bit of contact between a couple of cars as one car goes off course, but still, so far, fairly clean for that as they make their way down toward the hurry down.
We ride on board with the 12 machine and bring ourselves down this stretch to turn 5. One of the first passing opportunities as you see him sort of dig on through there. The 12 of James Huth sitting right behind the 913 of Leif Peterson. The Dempsey Proton Racing colors aboard that machine that Huth is chasing, and this all for position within the top 6 or 7 of this race.
Yeah, turn 5 is a very difficult corner because it's very easy to overshoot that braking zone, and where you could either put your car into the gravels or even lose control of the car and put it into one of the barriers. So far, everyone making it through nice and smoothly for the most part as they're coming out of the carousel and making the run to the kink.
I feel like he's probably managed it pretty well, and we're going to have the father leading the son to victory lane. Michel leading Levesque, and as he comes off of 14 and up the hill, flashes the headlights as he gets his second win in as many races in Series 2. William Levesque is your winner of tonight's Porsche Club of America Sim Racing Series event from Road America. Of Series 2 of the Porsche Club of America Sim Racing Series from Watkins Glen International. Pace car will make the turn off the front straightaway here, come down towards pit road, and get set to go. It'll be John Cook and Gresham Wagner to lead us to the green flag. As the pace car pulls off, we'll wait for the green flag to come out. It's off, we're away, and we are racing at Watkins Glen in the Porsche Club of America Sim Racing Series as they all fan out 2 by 2 by 2. Coming down the front straightaway, all pretty even here through this very tricky turn 1. You're downhill, you're on the brakes pretty hard. Not necessarily easy to get through there, but still side by side for the lead. Koch and Wagner, neither one wants to give up any room, but Wagner is going to get the run on the outside to clear Koch. So Wagner will go to the point, and then Michael Polosek will try and find his way back up to the rear bumper of William Levesque, who's already alongside Koch to try and get the second position.
Yeah, no inner loop this time, so it's just a long back straightaway before they go into the outer loop now, as they now dive to the bottom of the apex of that corner before they make their way into the boot. But right now, it is still going to be Gresham Wagner, your new race leader, as John Koch is trying to find a way to hold off the likes of William Levesque.
Every time they go through this section of the racetrack, how aggressive does Lisner get? Got a really good launch out of the there. He's going to have a lot of speed up this straightaway right on the back bumper. Now he's going to move to the left-hand side. Polosek moves over to cover this spot. Lisner has to fall back in line. Nowhere to go. You can't go too wide through here unless you are really, really bold. Lisner lays back, sets it up for another run here at Oak Tree. Leslie's going to run wide out into the grass. He'll keep it off the racing surface. Probably worked out the best for both of Polosek and Lisner as they will get by without further incident. But Lisner, again, right on the back bumper.
This was probably his best exit out of Oak Tree, and he is right there as they go down the back straightaway. He has that slipstream. Let's see if he's going to take a look to the inside before they get there. Here he goes there. He's going to take a peek to the inside as they're going to go side by side down the back straightaway. Now, who's going to be the bravest as they make the climb up the roller coaster?
Oh boy, here's a real test of a race car driver's might. Polosek gets in deep. Lisner did a good job, but Polosek in the preferred position on the right-hander to be on the inside lane. He's going to hold that spot. Again, what a veteran move from Michael Polosek to give the left-hand side to Lisner and keep himself in the preferred groove for the right-hander that was coming up. That's just such expert driving, clean driving, a lot of respect between these two drivers. Lisner knows his opportunities are running out each time they go by the start-finish line there. Into turn 1 they go. Lisner giving it a look to the right-hand side, just cannot make it happen. Has to set up here. Polosek a little deep into the corner, missed the apex a little bit. We've seen how strong Lisner's been on corner exit, especially this end of the racetrack.
He's got a good look as they go into NASCAR once more, then into the left hook. Let's see what he can do. He's not close enough as they're going through there, getting ready to set up for the snake. And Polosek just able to pull away once more as he clips the grass just a little bit through that section of the curbing. And here comes Lisner now as they make the run up the climbing S's.
I was about to say, I've seen more and more tire tracks around those curbs in the dirt and in the grass than I saw at the beginning of this track. These guys are using it all up. Again, so good through the left and right handers there at high speed. Has to get on the brakes for the left. Again, keeping that gap right around 2 or 3 car lengths. That's right where he wants to be. If he can get through this corner, get another toe, see how he sets up for the long run down the back straightaway. Not as close as he was last time, Taylor, so not sure he's going to have a look or the ability to at least make a pass or an attempt to make a pass this time.
We're glad to have you with us here on the iRacing Esports Network. One more time in Series 2 of the Porsche Club of America Sim Racing Series. As we get our final green flag of the season, we're underway from Sebring, and we take off into turn 1. Pretty solid start for everybody up in front, save 4. I believe that might have been James Patak who struggled a little bit, and it backed up. Leif Peterson just to change, and they all slide their way through that very, very wide turn 1, but they've got to funnel down to get into turn 2 because it narrows up very quickly.
It does indeed, as they're now coming through turn 2. You see Wagner all over the back bumper of Michael Polosek as they're coming through the turns 3 and 4 section of the course. Before they get to the big bend, Wagner tries to take a peek to the outside, but can't quite make it work. He's going to have to try and wait as they make the run to the hairpin.
They come through Big Bend for the first time towards this hairpin, and Levesque has got control of this, but Polosek already playing defense on Gresham Wagner, who nearly missed his opportunity to block John Koch, and Koch just about got to the inside of the 5, but not before the door closed down ever so slightly to keep him at bay. So Koch will sit in 4th. Wagner's going to open up a gap a little bit between the 5 and the 997, and they all file single found.
Levesque had a little bit of an off now. That's going to cause Michael Polosek and Gresham Wagner to get to the inside of them as they're now making it into the tower corner, but are able to try to keep it clean. Michael Polosek, your new race leader.
Polosek goes to P1, and a very rare mistake for William Levesque early on in the race. to see how he can regroup over the course of the next, 57 minutes. He's got plenty of time to make this up, but Michael Polasek with an opportunity to go to the lead and lead what I believe might be one of his first laps under proper green flag racing this year. I think he might have taken the lead a few times on pit cycles, but Polasek's had top 5 speed just about all season long, and there have been more than a few cases where he hasn't gotten the finish that's been indicative of the speed his car has had. He's had issues, he's made mistakes, he's run into other people's problems, so I think he'll certainly take this moment in the sun, no pun intended, as he comes around Sunset Bend and will lead lap 1 of this season finale for the Porsche Club of America Sim Racing Series. Sports Network as we get set for Race 2 of Series 3 of the Porsche Club of America Sim Racing Series. We're underway from Lime Rock Park. Billy Smith got a really good start. He had to check up behind William Levesque and couldn't really go anywhere with it as they all dive into turn 1 for the first time and try and figure out where they're going to end up. I think I saw one car off in the back, but a clean start for pretty much everybody through turn 1 as they work their way through the Estes complex here, 2 and 3, and then they start making their way towards the back straight. And quickly, it is Koch who is leading this field and taking care of business.
Yeah, and as I saw, Gresham Wagner got a little bit loose, and that allowed Billy Smith to get by for P3. So this track is very hard to get past someone on track. So Gresham Wagner's got a lot of work to do, and he's either going to have to overtake Billy Smith via a very risky move, as he's going to do here. He got an amazing run off of the final corner, and there we go, the number 5 car to the inside, and that's pretty much P3 taken back, and that's done and dusted.
Easy stuff there for Wagner in the 5, who takes over the 3rd spot. He'll try and run down last week's one, William Levesque. We remember those two had a great battle right up until the end, as Wagner and Levesque were going toe-to-toe throughout the first 3 quarters of last week's race at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. But as it stands, Koch has the lead. Levesque is hot on his tail. Wagner is just trying to get back up to those two. Billy Smith doing a decent job of hanging out. Everybody largely single file here on especially this back section of the course. The 5, 6, 7. Once you come up the hill, work your way around the back straight, west bend, back down, around the downhill, and to the start-finish line. That section of the course, very, very, very narrow and very, very tricky to navigate. So you don't see too much passing there. It's really here. And the essence is the A goes off. Chris Pye slides a little bit wide and opens up the door for Leif Peterson to get around him in the 9-1-3. So Peterson up to 5th, Pye's back to 6th. But if you're going to pass somebody, honestly, it's this part of the racetrack, turns 1 through 4, where you really have the best opportunity to do it. We'll pull off momentarily, make that interesting turn onto pit road. It sort of blends in with the racing line, does the pit entrance here at Watkins Glen. But the pace car pulls off. We'll wait to see how they make their way into turn 1 as the green flag comes out. And we are underway with racing at Watkins Glen. And it's a good start for Koch, who will jump ahead of Wagner by a little bit. Meanwhile, look at Chris Pye's come out and slide way, way wide in the corner. Now here comes Matthew Kikas underneath and Leif Peterson. So not the greatest of starts for Pye's. Meanwhile, though, looks like everybody will make it through turn 1 clean as they climb up the hill and head through the S's for the first time.
So far, no major action going on. It's still going to be single file except for Christopher Pies, who actually had a little bit of issue getting into the back bumper of Gresham Wagner going into the 90. Now they're coming down the back straight a bit before they hit the bus stop chicane. Let's see who will be the first one to break right now, as there's still Kikas goes a little bit wide right there, but is able to recover as the 41 look to the inside now as they go down into the carousel.
So Kikas there trying to find his way past the 6 of Chris Pines. Meanwhile, everybody's slipping back a little bit further back as they come down the second straightaway. Once you clear the long back straightaway and you make your way past the inner loop, you end up in a pretty good place to blitz it all the way down into turn 11 as we slide our attention to Charlie Yao in the number 29 machine, currently running in the 10th position. Now, one more time. It is the pro and the club drivers that now get their chance to take to Mid-Ohio. Let's see what kind of action we come across in the second 45-minute race of the evening. And up at the front, Youth has got a little bit of room Polasek was able to jump ahead of everybody on the start. He'll go side by side with Jason Lisner for P2. John Malia also right there as they continue to shuffle around and work their way through the keel for the first time.
The two top dogs to watch for this entire season. Lisner, a strong competitor here right now tonight as well, as he's trying to keep pace with the 45 of Michael Polasek, as Polasek is doing a very good job negotiating through lap traffic.
Polasek just picking off these cars one by one. Lisner trying to hang with him, but Polasek with plenty of strength, plenty of speed, no issue. The lights come on as he runs everybody down into China Beach and is going to try and clear Steven Kugler for position, but a really, really beautiful run up to this point for Michael Polasek in that 45.
Keeping an eye on Leif Peterson in that number 913 Porsche. Another strong competitor that ran last season, had a couple of great strategy calls throughout the majority of the season, especially at tracks such as Daytona. But he is trying to work his way up through the field right now, currently sitting in the 8th position. Let's see if he's able to work his way up and catch up to Charles Yao.
We'll see what happens as there's the big run for Jeff Lewis to try and get around Peterson, and he manages to clear Peterson and take over that 8th position. Blue shoe, James Craig is next in line, but I believe he just got cleared by Polasek and company, so not too much lap traffic, but all about the moves that you'll see here as Lisner jumps to the left, then to the right, then goes to the outside at China Beach, which Polasek will give him, and then Polasek will cut back down to the inside just ever so slightly as they crest the hill and come down towards that run into turn 9.
A lot of defensive driving from Michael Polasek. You saw that he tried to throw the blocks on Jason Lisner as they went through Thunder Valley, up over that hill, down into the valley once again as they make the run towards turns 12 and towards the carousel once again. Polasek holding on as best that he can now.
Polasek just trying to hang on. I think it's maybe a matter of dead tires, maybe a matter of will, maybe a matter of maybe 15% concentrated power of will to make Cisco Crins, perhaps, Taylor. But coming down in the final 3 minutes of this race, and Polasek has still got this lead. Can he hang on for 180 more seconds?
Well, we will remember this name as there's a car off in the middle of the keyhole. He was able to get off, though, just in time. And as they come up to Jonathan Schun, close contact right there between him and Polasek as they go down the back straightaway. Lisner now trying to barrel down on him as they head towards China Beach.
Tries to look to the outside. Will go up top. Polasek will give him that space again. Lisner will try and cut it over. Try to get to the inside there as they crest that little hill just at the top of China Beach and they get the run. That's been the move Lisner's tried to pull the last 2 or 3 laps, and he just hasn't had the place to do it. Just hasn't had the opportunity to make it happen.
He's got to try something different now. He's right there. If Polasek makes a mistake, he is there to capitalize on it, but he's got to also try and find a different way around, as it looks like that Lisner cannot seem to make that pass through that section. He's got to try something different.
He's got to find a different place. He's got to find a way because he's running out of time. Can't be more than maybe a lap or 2 at best, and definitely 2 laps left now. 2 laps to go for Michael Polasek to pick up his first ever win in PCA Sim Racing. He's never been this close to victory before, and how must the pressure be inside the cockpit of that 45? What are you thinking, Taylor Burris, if you're in his spot?
You are trying to not think of anything but hitting your marks on the track, making as least amount of mistakes that you can, getting by the lap traffic if you have to, working with them as best you can, but also don't be looking in that mirror. Take that rear view mirror off, focus on what's ahead of you.
The moment you start mirror driving is the moment that you kill your chances to make anything happen. Such a very common refrain that comes through more often than not as Lisner tries to get Polasek at turn 5 again, and it's just not happening as they come through the S's. It's just not there for Lisner. He's got to find another spot, and I have a hunch that it may be that run to China Beach that might be his best opportunity because he's had speed coming down the straightaway, and that's been his best opportunity more often than not.
I'm going to keep an eye, see what he can do through the carousel. Maybe not this lap, but at least the next lap. He's also shown a lot of speed through that corner as well. So this corner right here, as well as what you brought out towards China Beach, will be the final spot as they come across to get the white flag.
I was about to say there won't be another next lap beyond this. This is the last lap. White flag for Michael Polasek to try and claim his first victory in PCA Sim Racing at the beginning of Series 4. And he was pretty quick that last time by put down a 1:19.1. But Liston was faster with a 1:19.0. And now here comes the run to China Beach one last time down the longest straightaway at Mid-Ohio to see if Liston's got something for Polasek.
Polasek trying to break the draft and guard to the inside to let Lisner have to go the long way around as they go into the braking zone into China Beach. Lisner tries to go a little bit deeper, now tries to cross over, see if he can hold the car together in one piece. Plus there's lap traffic up ahead, so this is going to make things interesting. A little bump right there as well on Polasek.
Waiting to see if that bump's going to come harder. Turn 9's the next spot. They'll work their way through the S's. Lap traffic also could play a factor into this. It's right up the road. It's Carlos Lopez in the 18. They may get to him before they come to the start for the sign. They might not. Here they come down into Thunder Valley, though. Polasek still in control.
Polasek kind of hold on as best that he can as they come to the final quarter. Lisner, though, trying to see if he can get a braking zone better into the final quarter, into the carousel. Has to check up a little bit.
Had to check up there through the carousel. One more corner. Michael Polasek comes out of the final corner and at long last is a winner in PCA Sim Racing over Jason Lisner, who fought him tooth and nail in the final quarter of this race and gave it everything he had. But Polasek, using lessons learned from the first year of PCA Sim Racing to maintain the consistency and get the victory, as John Malley comes away and takes home P3 as Kenny Brown is going to try and wrap this up and should be in good shape to win the club class. And Kenny Brown comes home with victory in the club class race over Charlie Yao. So chalk one up for the Peach State region to open up 2020 for PCA Sim Racing. And we are off and underway in our club and pro race of PCA Sim Racing Series 4 at the second Gilles Mildew. Polasek leads them into the corner. Everybody cleanly through one. It's like pretty solid stuff for most of these drivers as they continue on to the back part of this racetrack and begin to push on as Polasek jumps out to lead over Lisner. And I think I saw Jeff Lewis clear Lee Peterson.
You saw that correctly. Lewis will now move up into the third position with Leif Peterson dropping down to fourth position. But right now, Michael Polasek has pulled away with Lisner in tow as they go up through the next set of chicanes. This battle will be great all season.
Incredible stuff, I think, all season long as we wait to see how this will shake out. Polasek continuing to pace the field. Lisner in second. A lot of good battles all up and down the grid. Leif Peterson there fighting off Jeff Lewis and company as they continue to work their way back towards the Leppengal.
Leppengal indeed will be a tricky corner for some of these drivers. We saw that in the last race. How well will these pro drivers as well as club drivers take it as they go into Leppengal for the first time here under racing conditions? So far, no major incidents out of the top 5 as they come out of there and head down the Casino Straight.
One more time, and Michael Polasek trying to navigate the lap traffic as well as hold off Jason Lisner, who constantly is sitting on his rear bumper. And if you're Lisner at this point, you almost have to wonder, is it going to happen again?
When will this ever end? Lisner trying to find a way to go the long way around to the outside through this next set of chicane. Tries the crossover move, will not work this time around. He will have to see what he can do as they approach the hairpin.
I think the interesting thing is I feel like Lisner, maybe even more so than last week, and I had a hunch it might be true last week. I feel like if Lisner does find a way around Polasek, that he might well be faster than the 45, and he may well be able to get away. But Polasek, to his great credit, has developed significantly since Series 1, 2, and 3, in particular in his ability to avoid mistakes. He credited it significantly with being a large part of the reason why he was able to get to victory lane last week, and it may well help him this week as well. Just take a little bit of the edge off and be smooth and be consistent, because we know the pace is there. We know Polasek's one of the fastest drivers in all the Porsche Club of America in the sim, week in, week out. It's just a matter of making sure that you keep it clean, although Lisner had the opportunity to go to the outside there coming into turn 1 and then thought better of it.
He is trying every which way he can to put the pressure on Michael Polasek to get back to the race lead here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, but Lisner wants to be now on the top 7 of the podium, does not want to be the second fiddle here tonight. He wants to be the one who takes home the win.
Lisner absolutely all over Polasek still, and it also happens to be the best battle within the top 10, just about the best battle within the top 15 as well. Kenny Brown and Greg Carr all over each other for 9th and 10th at this point too. Lisner got a great run through that final chicane and couldn't do anything about it because Polasek, to his credit, and in particular in that quarter, I've noticed he's been backing up his exit just a little bit and waiting because Lisner's got the speed to try and pull the crossover. Polasek's just dragging his exit a bit so that Lisner has to get on the binders ever so slightly to kill his momentum. Not to slow him down totally, but just enough to where he can't get alongside Polasek going into Lippengau. That's the key on Polasek's drive so far, the key within his drive so far. May will be the key that gets him to victory lane if he can hang on for the next 10 minutes.
He's got to try his best as he jumps the curb coming up to the wall of champions. This could give the opportunity to Lisner. As you see, Polasek throws the block. Lisner goes to the outside this time around as they go up to the start-finish line. I think Lisner will take the lead this time by.
And there was the mistake that we talked about. Michael Polasek couldn't make it. Jason Lisner's got the lead now, and Lisner now in position to get his revenge. How does Polasek respond as Lisner presses on and begins to open it up 2 car lengths, 3 car lengths, maybe a little bit more before they get to the first chicane?
Great drive from Jason Lisner to pull off the pass and the race lead, and he has checked out.
Oh, everybody waits for a green flag is out, and race 4 of Series 4 of PCH Sim Racing for the rookies and the sportsmen is underway. Wassel jumped ahead by about 2 or 3 car lengths over Cliff Kerr and Jeff C. as they all go side by side up through Rouge and Rédillon for the first time.
Pretty much very clean for the first time as they all work their way up through Eau Rouge and the Rédillon, down, heading down the Kemmel straight for the first time. And we might have ourselves a battle for the lead right now as the pass of Cliff Kerr will go to the inside of Wassel.
There goes Cliff Kerr, the 008 around that number 7 machine. Meanwhile, Jeff C. trying to fight off some other cars a little bit further back. Trey Drawhorn has already jumped ahead of C to take over that 3rd spot. So nice start for Drawhorn as he pushes on. He'll try and run down Wassel, who's about a second up the road already, as Drawhorn gets a little bit loose down there coming down the hill.
They're coming out of Bruxelles and heading into No Name for the first time as well. So a great start for these drivers. Single file pretty much throughout the top 10 after we saw that pass for lead. A couple of drivers lock checked up a little bit as they come out of No Name. That was Andrew Elsom in the 981 Porsche. That gives the opportunity for Francois Grayling to gain a little ground.
See already there. How close could this be? We may have a battle for the win on the final lap. Is Kerr running out of fuel or tires or both? Has he not managed it well enough? Is she going to put the pressure on him right at the end? We're going to find out a lot here on the run up to Blanchimont. It's a very high-speed run up through that section of the racetrack. So if he's out of fuel, we'll know it almost immediately.
He is trying to hold on as best that he can as they make the run to Blanchimont for the final time here at Circuit des Spa-Francorchamps. Again, anything. Hold on for Cliff Kerr. Jeff C. all trying to do anything he can to get into the bus stop chicane for the final time. One last attempt to see if he can get the race lead away from Kerrs into the bus stop for the final time. He is right there.
Right there. He'll have one shot coming into La Source, one shot in the hairpin to try and make this pass and take away the victory from Kerr. And so Kerr is led from flag to flag. We'll see diving into the corner. He looks to the inside, but it won't be enough. It was a good enough exit for Cliff Kerr, and he will hold off Jeff C. or not, maybe not. It's going to be a drag race down to the line or not. Are they parading? I can't tell what was going on there, but it will be Kerr in the end who gets the victory in tonight's sportsman and rookie class race for PCH Sim Racing and the Circuit des Spa-Francorchamps from Ranzitis, who continues to hound Grant Talkie, gives him no room, no margin for error, and you can tell the speed's there on Ranzitis, no question. I think he's got the faster of these 2 cars. They work their way towards the kink and begin to shuffle towards Canada Corner, and it was Talkie who got a way better run through Canada Corner, or not the kink rather, that last time by, so he'll have breathing room as they actually approach Canada Corner. That won't be where Ranzitis makes the move, at least for now.
He'll try to catch back up to Talkie, but Talkie pulling away for that 4th place spot. I think if Ranzitis gets by him, there's going to be a chance he's going to go for the top spot in this race. Again, long way to go, as I said before, but regardless, the top 2 right now, Vieira and McCartney, still battle there for the 2nd place spot. Vieira right up to his bumper for a short while, but backs it off about 3 car lengths. Up the top, front straight they'll go.
Kenny Brown still in control and your race leader and your points leader too. He's got room to finish anywhere in the top 10 to be the champion outright no matter what happens with the rest of this race. McCartney continuing to hold off Vieira for the moment, but a lot of good battles up in the front.
Hard turn onto pit road. They climb the hill. Michael Polasek leading the field underneath the Caterpillar Bridge. The green flag is in the air, and the Pro Class, the final race of Series 4 for PCA Sim Racing, underway. On the jump was Polasek, but it's Malia trying to go to driver's left as they head down to turn number 1. That outside lane, we saw it work earlier, but I believe Polasek under braking with the advantage. He will take the lead.
Everybody just bunched up in 1, but they keep it clean as they come through 2, working to 3. Polasek ahead of Malia, and then Lisner side by side. Big move to the inside for Chris Pies to get around Leif Peterson. Mark Hugh to the outside of Greg Carr to take that spot, because Matthew Kikish looking to the outside, then maybe to the inside as they work their way towards turn 5 for the first time.
Headed towards turn 5, down the Moraine sweep. Turn 5, one of the higher speed where you got to get on the brakes pretty quickly in order to make something happen. The short chute up underneath the Corvette Bridge to turn 6, and then they'll head down towards 7 and the hurry down section of the racetrack for the first time here this evening. Hurry downs will lead you over to turn 8 and then down to that sweeping right-hander that is the carousel in 9 and 10. You see Polasek take it really easy through 8 as they head towards the carousel. 8's a place, James, where if you carry too much speed, you can get caught out there very easily on approach to the carousel.
We've seen a lot of drivers overshoot turn 8 throughout the course of this evening. I feel pretty comfortable in saying we'll probably see it at least once tonight, maybe more. We'll just have to wait and see how this race pans out, but wouldn't be a shocker to see drivers overshoot their boundaries in 8 and then completely miss it, maybe run into people trying to get into 9 and 10. You hope that that all gets avoided, but it's never a certainty so far as things pan out, as Polasek continues to lead over Malia, Lisner, and then Jeff Lewis and Chris Pies. The first real battle here, probably Mark Huth and Greg Carr 7th and 8th, and Matthew Kikis is there in 9th as well. 45, all about the 92, all about the 17. It is Northern New Jersey, First Settlers, and San Diego regions in the top 3 spots as we get the green flag one more time. And the pro race for PCA Sim Racing Series 4 at Silverstone is alight, and Elliott Skier immediately went to the inside to try and get underneath Polasek, and he outbreaks Lisner through the middle to get P2 coming through Cumps, and they go to Maggots and Beckett's, and it's Skier already up a spot from where he started, Jacob Seelman.
Did I not tell you that you had to be money, and it almost looked like that Polasek may have just about stacked it up again at the initial start. He got off a little bit better this time, but Elliott Skier in hot pursuit, and those two have absolutely left Jason Lisner behind Taylor Burris in the early goings. It's 4 car lengths among the top 2.
It is, and Jason Lisner is now under extreme pressure from Jeff Lewis, who's going to try, as he makes contact, sliding through Stowe right there, but is able to save and recover it, but is going to lose a ton of positions, drop outside of the top 7 right now as he just gets 7th place ahead of Vaughn Glacier. Tight battle, a dogfight these final 3 minutes. They're working down the Andretti straightaway, and let's see if Siborowski will try and see if he'll take the outside. He is in the slipstream of Ken Tubman as they approach the S's. He is going to take a peek to the outside, see if he could go a later entry in. Can't quite get close enough to Ken Tubman as they come out of the S's, heading over to White's. Tubman just trying to find a hole to get to the inside or outside into White's. Here comes Daniel Rubel as well. He gets a great run out of White's corner, but can't close the deal as they come off corner exit. 2.5 minutes to go.
Ken Tubman, your leader here, trying to hang on for victory, but really tight battle amongst this top 3. You could almost argue that the battle between Siborowski and Rubel is just as tight, if not tighter, than the battle between Siborowski and Tubman for the race lead. But it's this trio all within 0.6 of one another, with maybe about 2 laps, 3 laps to go tops here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Ooh, Siborowski gets a little bit loose coming out of Quebec corner, so he's got to take control of that car. Hold on for dear life now as they go downhill before they make the incline up to Moss corner. Gets into the braking zone. Both of the 2 drivers right there are making a great entry in. Let's see what they can do at getting the power down as they come off corner exit and down the Andretti straight.
So it is Lone Star versus San Diego. That's the region that Siborowski hails from. versus Rubel from the Riesenthaler. So spread out across Pennsylvania and Texas and California, these three drivers in real life. And thousands of miles may separate them in real life, but it's only maybe tenths of a second, if that, as Ciborowski had a look entering the S's coming off of the Mario Andretti straight. And as we look at the clock, they will get the white flag this time by one more lap to go in the Series 2 Challenge Class race presented by Haggerty. Race 2 of Series 5 for these drivers coming down to the final lap here in Ontario.
Here they go through turn 1 for the final time. Both of them getting a great run off there as they make the run up to Clayton right now. That down corner, hill corner, they got a little bit of lap traffic in front of them, so that could come into play for these three drivers. One mistake could cost them a chance of victory here as they come up to Quebec.
Can Tubman hang on? Through Quebec corner they go. Ciborowski and Rubel with a better job. Lap traffic now in the way. That slowed up Tubman just a little bit. Mark Granoff there. These drivers are going to clear. Ooh, and it was close. Ciborowski nearly clipped the lap machine. And poor Daniel Rubel had nowhere to go as they get through Moss Quarter for the final time, safe and sound. So maybe one more shot for Ciborowski going into the S's once they come off the Andretti straight.
This is the time where he needs to utilize the slipstream right here to catch up to Ken Tubman to try to get a peek to the inside as they go through the S's. He's closing. It's now half a second, 0.3 of a second, ever so close to the opportunity to take home a checkered flag here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. And then you see Ken Tubman late into the braking zone to try and pull away.
But he's in very good shape. Stretched it out on the entry into the S's off the Mario Andretti straight. And even though there's one lap car in the way for Ken Tubman, it won't matter as the 27 machine comes across the start-finish line. And Ken Tubman wins the Challenge Class tonight, round 2 of Series 5 for this class, presented by Haggerty to Ken Tubman out of the Lone Star region of the PCA. And he has driven, not polished, that car to victory lane tonight. Radzitis on home turf. He is an Upper Canada region member and will want to win this race maybe more than any other over the course of the evening as we take off. And we are underway with the Pro Clash presented by Porsche from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And Radzitis will eventually get the jump on Greg Carr, gets to the inside, takes over the race lead. He'll go to first, Carr to second, Chris Pye sitting in third, then Lee Peterson, James Hugh, and Jacob Schum a little bit further back before you get to Teddy Framheim, Joan Kostanek, and Dewey Kang.
Pretty much single file, 8 cars under a blanket right now as the top 8 is just right on top of each other as they come out of Quebec. And then a little further back, you will have Dewey Kang lead the next group of cars pretty much. So a great start to the race here tonight at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park as they go underneath the Continental Bridge. And here's going to be the interesting part. How well will they all get through Moss Corner? So far, everybody giving each other plenty of room to set up as they come out of Moss and head down the Andretti straightaway.
Plenty of room, plenty of space. Liam Radzitis out ahead by maybe about 0.6 as it stands. Then Carr, then Pye, all snaking in a line down this incredibly long and straightaway before they get back to the S's.
Here they go down the back half of the Andretti straightaway now as they head towards the S's. Liam Radzitis will be able to pull a little bit of a gap over Greg Carr, about 3 car lengths as they come out of the S's into White's Corner. He will lead the first lap here tonight at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park as the rest of the field still remains single file.
Single file here. Radzitis has opened it up to about a half a second, but Chris Pye is still all over Greg Carr for P2. And all the way back down this grid, everybody within maybe a tenth or so of one another. It just looks like a gigantic conga line. You have to go all the way back to about Joseph Stiffel in 13th before you actually find some separation.
Indeed. I mean, looking at Joseph Stiffel right now in 13th, he's got about 4 to 5 car length lead over William Anderson in his number 41 Porsche. So it's a great battling here as the pretty much top 13 is lined up nose to tail. And then it's a little bit about 7 or 8 cars for the next group where it is going to be William Anderson leading that next group.
William Anderson leading the two Haggerty drivers and our Team Haggerty members in the Pro class. James Patang and Doug Metzel are 15th and 16th. You see that bright blue from Haggerty nose to tail coming out of Moss Corner onto the Andretti Straight. So we'll keep an eye on the Haggerty drivers over the course of the evening. They precede Chris Walsh, Igor Soiker, who was the club champion 1 season ago in Series 4 and promoted to Pro as a result. Then Tom Panic, then Shebal Ben-Yopadhyay, then Brian Swift, and then Greg Forwood side by side, now looking to the inside of Dave Schwartz to take over 22nd. To lead us to green. Pies looking for his second win in a row. Cooper Smith looking for his first win in PCA Sim Racing ever. All eyes on the leaders as we take off and go, and we are underway with PCA Sim Racing's final event of the night, the Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. And Pies ducked to the inside, then to the outside, looked for something to try and get around, and then backed up the corner. He's going to see if he can get a run up to 3. Cooper Smith will maintain the lead, all clean through the first corner as Pies backs it up and will lock down second ahead of Lisner and Peterson.
Little bumping and banging around the 5th position between Matthew Kikas and James Hughes. That's who gets into the back bumper of Matthew Kikas through turn number 3, but is able to back off and continue on. No contact after that, but continuing racing here at Michelin Raceway. But pretty much the top 10 lined up nose to tail as we see Chris Walsh go to the outside of Liam Radzitis to take over the 8th position. Let's see what happens when they get to turn number 6. Side by side they'll go. Radzitis gives way, move Chris Walsh up to P8.
Good work for Chris Walsh to get around Radzitis and take over that position. So he will continue to shuffle his way up the pecking order as Cooper Smith, Pies, Lisner, Peterson, Kikis, everybody again in a single line. But Radzitis wants a crack at Walsh again. He make it the draft down the back straight here.
He's going to try everything that he can to utilize that slipstream to help carry him through the back straightaway, heading up into turn number 10. Let's see if he'll take a peek to the inside as they enter turn 10. Into the braking zone they'll go. Hard into the braking zone. We'll see Chris Walsh go late in there, and is able to pull away from Liam Radzitis as they come out of turn number 10 underneath the Suzuki Bridge to complete lap 1 for the first time here tonight.
How about Shebal Ben-Yopadhyay muscling Robert Rattray out of the way for the 11th spot? Just had a big send down into the chicane, but made it work. Maybe a little bit of contact, but nothing outside the bounds of competition. So a nice little muscle move from Shebal to jump up into the 11th position. Of course, out of the metropolitan New York region of the PCA, one of the many drivers who call New York State home in all of this. So Rattray slides down to 12th, and then Dewey Kane with the Gramer Racing colors riding in the 13th position.
Some trouble for Liam Radzitis. He cut one of the corners heading in out of turn number 3, so he lost 2 positions, both to William Anderson and Shebal Ben-Yopadhyay as they go down out of turn number 5.
Have one more shot somewhere, somehow, some way. Last run up the hill before they get the white flag. 1 lap to go in this Pro Class feature presented by Porsche at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Good run for Pies coming out of that final corner. He may be able to play something in 3, but I think it's that back half of the racetrack that he might try and pull the move. Hasn't had a lot of success in the S's just because they're so narrow here. Last opportunity up through turn 3 for Pies and company.
Couldn't quite make it work this time around as they go down the S's for the final time. It's going to be lined up nose to tail for your top 4 as they try to condense themselves up to turn number 5. Here they come through the S's once again up to turn 5. Christopher Pies can't quite get to the inside just yet. Down the straightaway heading to turn 6.
He was a little bit tighter coming out of the S's than I've seen him in the last few laps. But this is the area right here coming through 6. He'll slide it in deep. But what kind of run does he get out of 7? Going to back it up. Oh, contact there. And they bounce off each other. And that, if anything, I think helped Cooper Smith more than anything else. It's going to be a mad scramble coming down to the chicane in turn 10. Here goes Pies with that big run. He got help from Lisner that set him up into Cooper Smith. And he'll have a shot going into 10. This is the moment. This is the move for Pies, who gives a bump to Cooper Smith, who tries to block. Here comes Lisner with a move. Pies down to the inside alongside Cooper Smith. They'll go door to door, bang off each other in the corner. There they go wide. There goes Jason Lisner underneath them both. And just like I thought they might, the front 2 get together. Lisner takes advantage in the final corner, and Jason Lisner will come away with the victory at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta.
Pit road, and we're going to get ready to go racing at Watkins Glen for 30 minutes. flag in hand. Here we go. Green flag will wave. We are racing at Watkins Glen, and Glenn Dennis has that lead out in front here of Stephen Kemp as they dive into turn 1, the big corner. This is one of the few we have to really get right as we've already got contact on the inside. Car's going across the apex and further contact. This could really shape our race here tonight, but it's been minimal compared to what we could have seen. We'll come back to that one, Ricky, with you and see what we get from that, but Glenn has made a huge jump here at the start, running up the S's now onto the straight, and he is off like a rocket in that roof. That roof is definitely on fire. And we're racing again for round 2 of tonight's events.
Field working their way up down the Brabham Straight into Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Couple of cars making contact as they enter there. They're going 3 wide actually towards the back half of the field. Straighten themselves right back up as they head down Pilgrim Rise over to Druids for the first time. Couple of cars sending it really deep into that corner there, Rachel.
They are, but I'm seeing amazing news here that no one dogged it in Paddock Hill, and the entire field just cleared Druids for the first time. 38 cars, perfectly clean.
There is not a major gap anywhere on the circuit right now. Cars are with anywhere between a 10th to about 7/10 of a second compared to their competitors right now. The farthest gap probably would have to be back in 21st, where it's about a second gap between Christian Rava and Rich Minkler. But as for that, everyone is one on top of the other. Porsche after Porsche after Porsche, as your top 3 have broken away from the rest of the field. Billy Smith leads that second group, as you pointed out, Rachel, trying to hold off a hard-charging Leif Peterson, the defending series champion, as they come up through Surtees and then make their way down the backstretch.
Absolutely, down the backstretch indeed, as looking towards the sharp end, it's looking like we're going to battle for our lead yet again. Martineau pressuring Christopher Pies here, looking for an opening to get this thing closed. Can he find a way through? He had the lead, of course, for our qualifying, but is he going to be able to try and get an opening there to make it through? Can he recover his place?
Yeah, and he's very close to the rear bumper of Christopher there as they work their way now coming to the last corner. And that's very dangerous here, Rachel, especially with just the little taps of the brakes these drivers have been hanging on all race long. Getting that close, if the driver in front of you just decides to brake a little early, could be problems. But a lockdown to the inside is those drivers battling hard for the lead.
Trying to find what they can to make a move here. Top 3 breaking away, but if they do fight, this will bring Billy Smith a second and the rest of the horde after them, because they're not that far away. They could make it through here, but all it takes is one careless battling in the corner, and that pack will be on them in no time. So he does, and we're looking for this one with Kemp behind him. Glenn Dennis looking for that move, because right now Matt Dialosa running away at the front. Glenn Dennis going for the outside move into China Bend. That is brave on lap 2, but he gets the position held. He holds it in through. Takes the apex at the next corner and will clear him. Beautiful move there by Glenn Dennis. Puts him to second place here, Ricky. Chasing down Matt Dialosa now. Dialosa's got a good gap, nearly 2 seconds. Can he catch up here?
Yeah, we'll really have to see of what Dennis is going to do here, but a great move through turn 5 that time to put Stephen Kemp on the outside. That's one of those corners where on the outside, anything above the racing groove is almost impossible to stay side by side. So a great veteran move by Dennis there to put Kemp on the outside, give himself the best run to go down through the rest of the S's, but as the rest of the field works their way down the front straightaway.
Nations with him here, and he is just accelerating towards Jake Geiger in the 968 as they come through 789 here. But Gregory looks like he's just turned this thing to 11. This car is moving and he's just accelerating through every single corner, tracking out perfectly. He is coming for Geiger. He's got to watch his rearview mirror.
Yeah, and this is one of those tracks, as you can see, J.R. Gregory, especially coming down towards Thunder Alley, is right up on the rumble strips off that blind corner. This is definitely goes to show that getting some practice here is well worth your time, is just knowing where to go coming off of some of the blind corners can really help, and J.R. Gregory is definitely on the move to try and put himself inside of the top 5.
Get ready to go here as the line will come. Amarim and Dyer lead the way as the acceleration starts. A big jump by Cooper Smith to the outside. Three-way lead for this race here as they go under the bridge. And oh my God, we are seeing it happen like I thought we would. What a stonking start to the race tonight here into Tamburello. 2 by 2 by 2 they come. They're all over each other. Pies, Cooper Smith, Billy Smith, Dyer, Amarim, everyone's not even moving. There's contact there between Cooper Smith and Smith. Whew, they were close to trouble here today, Ricky.
Yeah, very close contact being made. That's very easy for a car to go around, especially with just the slightest bit of contact. But these drivers fighting for every position off the start, Rachel. We saw in the club class race just a few moments ago, drivers going super deep into turn one, trying to gain as many spots as possible. These drivers definitely trying to do it here, all battling for a championship and the bragging rights to win the Pro Class PCA Sim Racing Championship here in Series 6. And these drivers going to be all over each other all race long. As a great battle for 8th.